What's up everybody, Matt Maran here, and this is the all-new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser. So it's back here for the 2024 model year after a few years off, and they have radically rethought the Land Cruiser and really leaned into the heritage of the Land Cruiser. And as you can see with this one, especially with the 1958 edition we're looking at here, which is the base trim, you have round headlamps. Now there is a rectangular headlamp you can get on the Land Cruiser trim, which is the mid-grade trim there, and there's also a limited edition trim at the top as well. But as far as this base one, it still looks super cool. Obviously it's got some retro styling that is more popular in the truck space these days, but with the way they've done it here, I think that it looks super cool. And I think this is also probably one of the only vehicles in history to offer two completely different designs for headlights in the same model year, and I love it. It's 4.4 inches narrower, it's about 1.2 inches shorter than the last generation Land Cruiser, so it's been downsized a lot, and that also allowed them to make it more affordable. So these are going to be starting in the mid $50,000 range, so this isn't some crazy expensive vehicle like the old ones used to be. This one is going to be a lot more affordable. So in this video we're going to cover this base 1958 edition as well as the next trim up, the Land Cruiser trim. So I'll be showing you guys what a nice fully loaded interior looks like, and also what this base interior looks like, so you get the full spectrum here, and we'll go over all the engine details, all the mechanical details, and all the options that are available on these as well. All right, so let's check out this 1958 edition. So like I said, this is the base trim starting in the mid $50,000 range, they said, and I love these circular LED headlamps. You still do have fog lights, by the way. You get some Rigid Industries fog lights on the upper trim, but I love the retro Toyota grille. And I honestly, like the way they styled this, I can't believe that they went this bold and went this far with retro looks, and I love it. I think it looks fantastic. You still have some great 18-inch wheels. I think 20s are available on the upper trim, but then 18s are even on the first edition as well. So I mean, 18s is basically going to be the standard and the norm here. But I mean, look at the side profile of this thing. So boxy, just so cool. And then check out the back here. Again, just so retro looking, and I love it. I think it looks so cool. And you will see there's an iForce Max badge there. So they kept it nice and simple, not only with the trim structure, with having essentially 3 trims and only 2 that are permanent, but you also are going to have just one engine choice here, one powertrain. They're all going to have full-time 4-wheel drive, and they all have the iForce Max engine. So in this application, what that means is that you have a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine along with a hybrid system that all runs through an 8-speed automatic transmission. And so combined with a 48 horsepower e-motor, all total it makes 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque with this setup. And it's the same setup we just were introduced to in the Tacoma recently. That's also going to be coming here for the 2024 model year. And so I mean, it should be a very strong amount of power. And yes, it's a 4-cylinder, but it's a very hybridized, heavily hybridized 4-cylinder, so that you're going to have a lot of power. And I mean, 465 pound-feet of torque is no joke. I don't think anyone's going to think these things are going to be underpowered at all. I also really love this A-pillar area here. You can see how that old school kind of cowl here with the plastic there, and they pushed back the A-pillar here for this generation to give you better visibility. You also have shorter overhangs for better off-roading, and you have a 31-degree approach angle now. You have a 25-degree breakover angle, and then a 22-degree departure angle. And so you also are going to have a double wishbone front suspension with twin tube shocks, multi-link rear with coil springs, and on the Land Cruiser and the first edition you're going to have a sway bar stabilizer bar disconnect there for the front as well. So I'll give you a little bit of extra off-roading capability there, but I mean, they all get the same great 2-speed transfer case for high and low. You have a limited slip diff front and rear. It has a 50-50 torque split. You also have 8.7 inches of ground clearance here as standard. And so I mean, as far as all the basics goes, it's going to be really solid. And also, getting back to the engine, it'll tow 6,000 pounds. So I mean, plenty of power, plenty of towing capability. But anyway, let's check out this interior. So this is the base interior basically, so that mid $50,000 price tag is going to be pretty retro. And I think for people that are looking for something rugged, this will be great. You have rugged door panels here. It's definitely just typical kind of Toyota plastics and stuff, but I think again that's what buyers in this segment want. And I really love these seats. So these are the cloth seats that you get on the base one here, but it's a really rough fabric. It's a kind of a retro feel to it, and it kind of again feels like you're in something from a few decades ago in a good way. I think it's a really cool choice. I haven't seen a cloth interior like this on a vehicle in a long time, and it's just a really cool choice. Again, I'm just really respecting how bold they went with this. But let's hop inside here and turn off the dinging. All right, so turning it on here. We have, of course, warning lights because this is a pre-production, very early model, but you see an 8-inch digital gauge cluster there with a few other little things there on the right and the left. But, you know, still great, does all the basics, you know, no issues there. You also have the great Toyota 8-inch touchscreen here. Now, you can go up to a 12.3-inch touchscreen in the upper trim, but again, this does all the same stuff, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. Really like, actually, the design around here, so it doesn't look like it's just all, you know, one big panel of plastic. You have some design to it, and love the Land Cruiser badge there. Cool air vent designs and nice toggle switches here, and you know, a nice chunky shifter. Just all feels exactly like what you would want in something like this, I think. There's the controls for the 4-wheel drive system and the locking diff buttons, and good amount of storage there and there. I really love this steering wheel too, with the Toyota script and nice chunky controls. Looks great, has a great feel to it too. And it's also worth noting that for this generation of the Land Cruiser, it is only a 5-seater. There is no third row available in these, but you know, still a pretty spacious second row. I have that seat kind of where I would have it normally for my driving position, and looks like I still got, you know, about 3-4 inches of legroom to spare there. Of course, plenty of headroom because this thing is so huge, you know, with the boxiness there. So plenty of headroom, and looks like you also do have some air vents, which is a nice touch, and some power outlets there too. And just a nice, very wide bench. It also reclines there, as you can see. And I have the grab handles there. And another look at this interior from back here. And yeah, I really love the way they set up this interior. I think it's really cool. And heading out to the back here, I also really love the detailing around these taillights. They could have just made it simple, but instead you have the cool LED outlines there. All the little touches, I don't know, I'm really impressed with the way they designed this. Anyway, opening up the hatch here does open upwards, doesn't open sideways or anything like that. And you do see you have a little bit of a shallower space here. So it's not quite as deep. It's kind of high up there. You can see the lift over there, but still, you know, a nice long space, and I'm very happy to see that it is just, you know, a level space here, so it doesn't have any kind of partitions like you see on the Sequoia. You also see, even here on the base trim, you have a 2400 watt AC inverter, which is great to have in the cargo area there. Another cool touch here is that you have a little button there and you can still open up the glass, so great feature that a lot of people really loved in the Sequoias and, you know, 4Runners and all that, and great for dog owners especially, but just such a cool thing, and something again that not very many vehicles in this segment or anything these days really offers, so just awesome you have that little touch as well. Alright, so this is the upper Land Cruiser trim. They just call it Land Cruiser, but as you can see, it gets the rectangular headlamps there that look really cool. And I mean, I love both looks. It's really hard to pick which one I actually like the most. Let me know in the comments which one you prefer, but really cool. I like the detailing there and the DRL, and those projectors are sweet. You also see some gray coloring there to the grille, so a little more upmarket looking than the base trim there. And there's those rigid industry fog lamps that you get, and get some different wheels here, but still 18s, and you also had some running boards there. And I love this color too. I believe it's called Heritage Blue, and you can get it with the white two-tone look here for the roof. I love the way that looks. So cool. And a nice connecting piece there with the black that flows into the tailgate there. And yeah, it looks awesome here. One other little difference to mention is that even though they do have 18-inch wheels on both trims, up on the upper trims here you get 265 wide tires here versus 245s on that 1958 edition. Other things, see some cool little accents there in the side mirrors, which also again really remind me of the FJ Cruiser side mirrors. But anyway, hopping in here, so this one has the premium package on this upper Land Cruiser trim. The basic things you get are the Rigid Industries fog lamps. You also will get soft tech seats that are heated and ventilated, along with a 10-speaker stereo. This one though has that premium package, so you have leather trim seats, so you can see it's not complete leather, but I love this little thigh support here. Kind of a little bit of a retro cue. Obviously there's modern stuff that has that, but Not something you typically see in some other Toyotas, and I love this color of brown too. Again, just gives me retro vibes. You'll also see memory seats here, and also on the steering wheel, it's leather wrapped and it's heated. It's also heated even on the 1958 edition though, which is a nice inclusion for a base trim to have a heated wheel. Usually that's something you got to go up to a top trim on other vehicles to get, but you also see you get the little driver monitor system there, so you can do the more advanced traffic jam assist, and you also see there's a head-up display. You also get the larger 12-inch digital gauges there. Same thing as I've covered in other Toyotas. Same setup. They have different looks to them, so there's like a more rugged look, which would probably be more appropriate for this vehicle, but this is just the standard look that they have, and tons of customization and adjustability, and I've covered that before, so I'll link at the end of this video an interior review where I go in depth on that. But otherwise, I mean, still great steering wheel. You also have a digital rearview mirror, is something you can get in this premium package that's included, as is the moonroof. And there's that 14-speaker JBL speaker upgrade, and great that they're offering that. And here's a better look at that 12.3-inch touchscreen here that's on these upper trims. And I love they still included a volume knob, even though, you know, might have been hard to integrate. I'm glad that they still, you know, made sure they stuck one on there, and just happy to have it. And yeah, just, you know, the same great infotainment system once again, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto here, and works really well. I really like the way they've redone these systems. It's nice and simple with the new Toyota infotainment system, and you can see the heated and cooled seat controls there added into the switch gear, and there's the heated steering wheel button there, and you also have a wireless charging pad as standard, by the way. And you'll see there's a button there for the surround view monitors, because some of the other things you get are a multi-terrain select here, which you get in these, and you also have a couple other buttons here to adjust things, but otherwise all the same basic stuff. And yeah, so I mean, you know, some extra padding here on the armrest, and you know, everything feels a little more plush. You do have some padding down here by your knee, which is nice to have. So it's a pretty premium feeling vehicle. We will see what the pricing ends up being for these upper trims. We only know that starting price for now, but I love also just the large glass here. I mean, it is really so retro and so rare these days, and you know, even the view forward here is really top notch. And let's check out the back seat there. You know, no changes really in the back, but just to see how it looks with the leather here. I don't have an example with the Softex to show you that, but typically the Toyota Softex seats are also very nice, and you know, sometimes even almost as nice as the leather. But I really do love this leather color. Looks great. Same hookups. You do also have some climate controls there, so that's interesting. It looks like you don't get air vents here on these upper trims. You get the climate controls instead, but you do still have air vents up here in the roof. So that's how you get some ventilation back there, in addition to, of course, whatever's coming from the front. Again, this is a smaller vehicle than the old Land Cruiser, so not as much space here to worry about ventilating. Opening up the back here, should all still be the same. This is power though. It was not power on the base one, so that is another difference here to have that power close, and also has the lock feature, which is always nice. And I did talk to a Land Cruiser specialist who said that other markets will be getting a third row as an option, so that's why we have the cup holders here, but that is not going to be an option here for the US market. So even you'll see there's USB jacks there, USB-C to be specific. You have all that stuff. You even have little air vents down there, but they said that's going to be great for tailgating, for other things, but they are not planning on offering a third row for the States here. So that is all the details here as far as the in-person stuff goes. These will be built in Japan. They'll be arriving in the spring of 2024. Like I said, pricing is going to be right around that, you know, mid 50,000 mark to start. There will also be a first edition with only 5,000 units of those produced in the first 2 months of production, and that will give you basically the round headlights with all the other premium stuff. So that'll be the only way to get the retro look, the more retro look, I guess I should say, with all the luxury stuff. So if you want to have that combination, you know, make sure you get on your dealer's waiting list and get in line for one of those 5,000, because otherwise, if you want the nicer stuff here, you're going to have to go to the rectangular lights. Now, they might be easy to swap, who knows, but you know, at least for now, that is going to be the way that it's going to be set up. So anyway, that's all of my thoughts and my what I can show you here on the Land Cruiser so far. Stay tuned and subscribe, of course, for a driving review coming at some point. I'm guessing, you know, next year, early next year sometime, to see how these drive. But man, I really think they hit it out of the park. But let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.